doing, Amber? What are you doing? Good evening. Welcome to my Patreon witchcraft class. This month I'm going to be talking about oracle decks, a little bit in relationship to tarot decks and the difference, and also just generally how you use them. Of course, I will be talking about my own upcoming oracle deck, which I do not have an example of yet because it's still off at the printer. It doesn't come out until September 8th. I'm sure many of you are familiar with my beautiful Everyday Witchcraft Tarot, Everyday Witch Tarot, which came out a couple years ago from Llewellyn, written by me and created by me and illustrator Elizabeth Alba, who did a fabulous job. And we had such a good time working on it. Here's the book part. So we had such a good time working on the tarot deck that we decided to come up with another project where we would have an excuse to work together. And so that turned out to be the Everyday Witch Oracle deck. This is what it is going to look like. Well, one of the things it's going to look like. You might see something a little bit different here. We worked on inclusivity a bit. Our tarot deck was very white. Accidental. We didn't really do it on purpose, but we made it better this time. But a lot of people have asked me, well, what's the difference between tarot and oracle? As far as, what are the decks like? How do you use them? So I thought I would take the chance to talk about that tonight. I'll probably be talking about it online over the next few months as we lead up to the launch of the new oracle deck. Ooh, I'm a little excited. I hope you're all excited too. But in the meanwhile, I figured I'd give you guys a few answers. I'd like to apologize in advance. I'm having a really bad allergy day, so I'm probably going to spend half of this video attractively blowing my nose and snuffling. And that's going to probably happen for most of the next bunch of videos, because once it hits springtime all the way through the end of fall, I am the allergy queen. Long live the queen. And I can't take anything for it, so there's just the nose blowing and the snuffling. Comes with the territory. Anyway, oracle decks. So the standard tarot deck has 78 cards. Oracle decks can vary. I have a whole bunch of examples because I have a whole bunch of oracle decks. And we can see, let's see, this one. This is the Goddess Inspiration Oracle. This is a very cool, really beautiful one. And this has 80 cards. The deck that we're doing has 40. So as you can see, and it's going to have a book with it as well. I'm not exactly sure how they're going to package the two of them together. You can see with this deck, there's actually a nice little book. And then actually the cards come in a beautiful bag. This is not from Llewellyn. This is from, who are these people from? They're from, oh, I don't know who they're from. They are from, oh, they are from Llewellyn. I'm a big fat liar. So maybe they'll be like this. I have no idea. I'm looking forward to finding out. Yeah, I have some oracle cards from Llewellyn, some from other people. This is from Blue Angel Publishing. This is really pretty. I just got this one. This is the Peace Oracle. Guidance for Challenging Times. Yeah, I'd say we're in those. The most recent one that I got, I actually found this locally. I went to the Fairy Festival, which is about an hour away from me, and the person who made this was selling it there last year, in the fall, I think, summer. summer solstice. So this is the Blessed Bee Oracle, Mystical Celtic Blessing Cards to Enrich and Empower by Lucy Cavendish, with artwork by Jane Starr Wiles, who I really, really like her artwork. She was the person I bought it from, the artist. And this has, does it tell me how many cards it has in it? It has a bunch of cards, yeah, I guess. But you can see also another nice little guidebook, and then all the cards together. And since they're still in order, I'll look at the last one, and 46 cards. See, we answered that question too. So as you can see, there's a big variety, and these, let's see, these are the Power Thought cards from Louise L. Hay. She's pretty popular. And this is a 64 card deck, which doesn't have a book with it. So, and it has a cool little box. So, tarot cards versus oracle cards. Tarot cards are primarily used for prediction, for divination. And, some people use them more seriously than other people. Some people do sort of play around with them for fun. But they generally are something that you sit down and do a tarot reading. Sometimes people pull one card or a couple of cards just to get some idea of how their day is going to go, or if they need the answer to something. Should I go out to dinner with my in-laws? Yeah, the cards say no. But in general, there's sort of a serious sit down and think about it tool, something that it takes a while to get comfortable with. Oracle cards, in general, are a little bit, while they can still be serious, they're not maybe as intense sometimes. And you certainly don't have that learning curve the way you do with tarot. It is hard to sit down with a tarot deck, pull it out of the box, and immediately start using it unless you have been reading tarot with other decks for a while. Oracle cards, on the other hand, you can, in fact, it's sometimes nice to look at the book and say, okay, this is what the author says about this. Obviously, I hope everybody will do that with my book. But they are, in general, simpler and less complicated to use. You don't usually do a big spread. You usually pull one card or two cards. They're used sometimes for guidance. They can be used for divination. My particular deck, the Everyday Witch Oracle, the way we have that organized is I have 3 options for each card written out in the book. You can, of course, do anything you want with it. I'm not going to be looking over your shoulder going, no, that's not what I said. Probably. But we have action, divination, and magic options. So if you pull out a card, you may say, okay, I want to do the action that is associated with this card, which is usually something very simple. There's small cards. Or divination, which is like with the tarot, to answer a question or look deeper at a topic. Or magic, to use it as a tool in some very simple magical spell or working. But there are lots of really simple things that you can do with oracle cards. My group, Blue Moon Circle, we use them occasionally when we are doing ritual as a form of guidance or inspiration. For instance, at Imbolc in February, at the beginning of the year, we may pass a deck of oracle cards around the circle, and everybody will pick one as a way of sort of telling us what we're looking forward to in the year to come, what lies ahead, just as a general hint. In the spring equinox, we may use them to sort of plant our intentions, and in that case, rather than having random cards going around, we may look through the deck and pick the one that we feel most represents what we want to accomplish during the year, and we'll use that as a symbol during the ritual. So those are a couple of ways that you can use them. I also have one of my favorites for using is this Goddess Inspiration Oracle. We'll use that when we do a ritual to sort of tell us which goddesses are trying to get in touch with us, or whether, you know, something just, you know, a inspiration for a goddess to look into more deeply. So we would just take our random deck here at Path, and I would pull out Freya, acknowledge the power of beauty. She's a goddess of beauty. So one of them. So if we were using this, we might say, okay, this is the message I needed today, or this is the goddess that, you know, is trying to tap me on the shoulder and get my attention. So that's one way of doing it. If we are working on some sort of a ritual that requires inspiration, we may use, let's see, I told you I had a lot of these. The Conscious Spirit Oracle deck, written and illustrated by Kim Dreyer. This one is from US Games and Systems. They do a lot of tarot and oracle decks. So let me see if I can get this open. So if I pull a card out of this one, they have really pretty backs. So I pulled out the Fire Elemental, and it says, I ignite the fire within me that connects me to the divine. I like that. Maybe that's the message I needed today. So you can see, again, it's a random pick to help with inspiration, to give us an idea of the path that we're meant to be on, whatever it is we're working on. There are also spell decks. I mean, this deck has 36 spells, and so you can use something like that. This one is a Goddess Knowledge card deck with really beautiful paintings on it. This is from Pomegranate, which is another publisher. If I can get this one open. I swear they don't really want you to use these cards. See, look, pretty. Okay, come on, you. I'm trying not to destroy the box while I get the deck open. There's probably a trick to it, but I don't know. Sorry. Cats romping. They're a little wild tonight. I do not know what is going on in their little twitchy cat minds. But yeah, they're a little crazy. Okay, so all right, look what we've got. We've got Bast. Speaking of cats, apparently they made me pull this card. And this says on the back, because this is the knowledge deck, and it tells you about Bast, the Egyptian goddess. This is actually kind of cool. I will read it to you. Bast, or Bastet, or Pesht, was the Egyptian goddess who appeared in cat form. The Egyptians highly revered cats. The word for cat, Mao, also denotes light and was the same as the word for mother. The cat is a lunar animal and also a solar animal, representing the power of the sun as reflected in nature. Since the cat is an earth animal, Bast is also an earth mother goddess, a giver of life and abundance. In touch with her wild, instinctual nature, she is also a protector of women during childbirth. And you know, since I'm writing a goddess book right this very minute, goddess empowerment for women, I can tell you, I just read up on this and it's all true. I should have just gone through these cards. Like a cat, she is fiercely independent and belongs to no one but herself. Like a cat, she is Bast is one of the more joyful goddesses. Her elaborate festivals in the town of Babustis, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, were renowned for their joyful dancing. Embodying a cat's gentler aspects, Bast is the personification of life and fruitfulness. The quintessential life-affirming mother, she reminds us to be playful and relaxed like a cat and to find occasions to celebrate life. So that's gives you an idea of how that deck works. You know, this again also does not have a book with it. It just has all the information that you need right there on the knowledge cards. And So you would maybe, do a little ritual for Bast, or light a candle for her, or just get in touch with your own playful self, or your own playful cats if you've got them. Maybe the cats are trying to tell me I need to give them treats. That could be. Koshka, leave that alone. He's about ready to drop things on the floor. Koshka, seriously, dude, cut it out. I spend a lot of time during the day saying that, not just when I'm tipping videos, all the time. He's a little bit of a problem child. Anyway, so that gives you a couple of ideas of tarot decks. Here's the Gifts of the Goddess, and these are affirmation cards. Affirmation cards can be used as a kind of oracle. These are nice because, again, we use them during ritual. This is by Amy Zerner and Monty Farber, and this is from Chronicle Books. You can see a lot of people put these kind of cards out. And so, again, if we're doing a ritual that has affirmations in it, we will pull a random card to see which affirmation we need to say. Oh, that's a good one. This is the Goddess of Healing. I am free of pain and suffering is the affirmation, which is a good one, and I could use that today. Thank you. Use this gift to remember who you really are. Breathe slowly and deeply as you remember that you are a soul moving onward and upward. You are not your name. You are not what you do. You are not your body. Visualize beautiful birds removing your pain and suffering with their golden beaks and flying away to drop it all in the vast ocean. Very cool cards. As you can see from just the few examples that I've used, there's a huge range of oracle cards and their various approaches. And when you're looking for an oracle deck, I mean, besides mine, which everybody's going to go out and get, of course, or not, whatever, you're going to want to look for one where the artwork sort of resonates with you, like if you like this style, or if you like this, which is sort of a more modern style. You want to have something that you're going to really connect with the cards, and then you want something with a topic that, or an approach, like, do you want an inspiration oracle? Do you want something with goddess cards? Do you want affirmations? So you can sort of narrow it down, first of all, by the one that kind of reaches out and grabs you. I mean, if it catches your eye and you can't stop looking at it, that's probably the deck for you, just the same as with tarot. If you pick it up and, sorry, I don't know if you can hear that little tinkling noise. That is Ember standing on her hind legs and playing with a set of wind chimes. I did mention they're kind of ripping today, right? Let's see. I think I can. There's Kushka. Say hi, Kush. Say hi, Kushka. And yes, you can see what they've done to my window blinds. That's pretty much my whole house. Harry does that. Harry likes to look out that window, sitting up on that cat tree. And if the blinds are closed, he gets annoyed and he opens them. I'm sorry, where was I? Okay, so in my oracle deck, we're actually taking an approach. Oh, now we've got two cats. There's Koshka and Ember. Yeah, it's a laptop. It doesn't move around as easily as, say, a tablet. No, I've just made you all nauseous. So sorry. But you got to see the cats, which is really all you come here for, I know. So we're working with the four elements: earth, air, fire, and water. And so in each of the suites, we are going to have 10 cards, and each of those 10 cards will have a purpose. It'll have a general statement, it'll have what the card is telling you, and all of the number 1 cards are a certain type of cards. All the number 2 cards, like the 5 cards, are magic, like earth magic, which I actually have the original painting for the earth magic card. Sorry, distracted cats. So yeah, Elizabeth gifted me with that because it's got my picture on it, which is kind of cool. hang on. I think I can take you over there too. We'll just go walk about. This will be an adventure. So now we're going over to my other altar. See, there's the altar, and there is the beautiful original painting of the Earth Magic Oracle card, which all the rest of you will be able to see on September 8th, hopefully. Hopefully it will not be like the little book of cat magic where disastrous things happened and it didn't come out on time. That was very sad. If you missed buying the little book of cat magic when it came out, go buy it now. This commercial brought to you by, I don't know, cats. So there's going to be 10 earth cards, 10 air cards, and so on. But each of the cards will also have a title like Go with the Flow, or you know, hibernation, whatever. I don't remember what they all are. I wrote it 2 years ago. Don't pick on me. All right, a year and a half. Anyway, but there are a bunch of different ways. I mean, you saw what I was doing was basically a one-card pull, sort of a random, put the deck out there, pull a card. And that's the way I normally use Oracle cards. There are, other things you could do with them. You don't have to use one card. If you are going to use just one card, if you're going to pull one card randomly like I did, you can use it for guidance. Say you've got a question, or you're trying to figure out something to do, or if you just want to know what's going on, you can pull one card for guidance. For instance, the card about Bast said to be joyous, so maybe the message there was to be joyous. The other card about letting go of pain, well, yeah, it's hard to be joyous if you're in pain, so those two things actually go pretty well together. And you can also use them for inspiration. You can use it as a focus for magical work. You can use it to put on your altar for a little while, to inspire your spiritual path, whatever you're doing at the time. And you don't necessarily have to do a random pull. If you're looking for inspiration, for instance, you can look through the whole deck and figure out which one appeals to you most on that day, and put that up. Or just sort of meditate on it for a while. Exploration. You can take a deck like this, especially one that has sort of leaped out at you from the shelves or the online bookstores, and go through it one card at a time and just sort of feel your way through the deck. You can do that all at one sitting, or you could do it, one a day, which depending on the deck might take you a while, but that's all right. Fun. You can just use them for fun. Unlike tarot cards, which people tend to take a little bit more seriously, although you don't have to, you can just, pull a card for fun and, just sort of see what it says. It doesn't have to have any really huge, deep meaning. Divination. Write down your question and then pull a card at random. You can either shuffle the deck or spread them out, as you would with a tarot deck, upside down, of course. And then you look at your question and see whether the card you pulled seems to apply as an answer. Often does. Magical work. You can pull a card and in the case of my deck, there is an actual suggestion for how to use it with magical work. With others, for instance, the Goddess deck, you could look at the Bast card and say, okay, I'm going to do some magical work for my cats, using Deb's little book of cat magic, or not, especially if you just have dogs. If you just have dogs, you may want to pull another card, or get a cat. That may be what, that could be what it's saying. You can do, magical work sort of as a random thing, or you can pick, a holiday or the full moon and pick a card and let it inspire whatever magical work you're going to do. And remember that if you're working with a group like I do, then you can, each pull a card and share with each other, sort of what you get from the card. And that can be really fascinating. We've done that a bunch of times and it never gets boring. Mind you, my group is never boring anyway. It's a bunch of very interesting women. So maybe one card isn't enough for you. How about 2 cards? Well, if you pick out 2 oracle cards, you can use one to represent the past and one to represent the present. Basically, if you're trying to sort of get a feel for something or answer a question, you can pull a card out and have that represent past influence, and one, the next one will represent the current influence, because those two things usually go into explaining why you're reacting the way you're reacting, or why something bothers you, or why something keeps coming back up again. I get that a lot when I do tarot readings for people, is they'll say, this keeps happening to me. And I can usually look at the deck and figure out why. Sometimes that doesn't fix it. Sometimes if they do something. So with my particular deck, you can take 2 of the same number card, like 2 of the number 2 cards, the number 2 earth card and the number 2 water card, and look at them on purpose side by side. For instance, if you started with ground and center, and then you use what was on that card to help you with inspiration and courage. A lot of fun cards in this deck. Or you can, again, using my deck, do 2 cards with the same general purpose, like the 2 magic cards, or 2 affirmation cards, or something like that. You can also pull 2 cards and have one represent today and one represent tomorrow. So if you've got 2 oracle cards, maybe, if you're using a goddess inspiration deck, maybe one is the goddess you need to talk to today and one is the goddess you should talk to tomorrow. Or if you're doing like the peace oracle, which has guidance, then maybe one is guidance for today and one is the guidance that you will need for tomorrow, and then you can do it all at the same time. You can think about what you need to be doing right now and what you need to be doing in the future, and pull 2 cards to answer those questions. Again, like the tarot, it can be real helpful for that sort of thing. If you want to use 3 cards, you wild and crazy people, I've done that. You can do past, present, and future, just as you would with a tarot deck. And sort of like the past and present that we talked about with 2 cards, except with the future card being something that you want to concentrate on in the future. Look at the 3 cards together, see if there's a pattern of any kind. Is there a link between whatever the 3 different cards are? Something that you need to know about, something from the past that seems to be influencing the present, which then goes on to influence the future. 3 cards can also be used as a maiden mother crone pull. Look for messages from each of the 3 aspects of the goddess, or perhaps wisdom from your younger self, your current self, and your older self. You can do that too. It's kind of cool. And try and figure out what they're going to tell you. Or just pull 3 random cards and see if you can get some sort of meaning or inspiration from them. Like I said, it's a lot like using tarot, except that it's simpler and there's less studying. Usually, most of what you need to know is sort of spelled out for you on the book if it comes with the book, or right on the card if it doesn't come with the book. Certainly, my deck, as usual, my books tell you everything, or at least hopefully they'll be a helpful starting point, and then you figure the rest out for yourself. So that's pretty much what I've got on Oracle cards, except that probably you shouldn't get too many, because that can kind of crazy. You don't want to get, like, I don't know, carried away with all the Oracle decks. No, that would be bad. So anyway, thank you very much. I hope this was helpful and that you enjoyed it and found it, at least somewhat edifying. And I will see you next month. Good night.